All right, everyone. I think we'll kick off. I think we should have most people here, and I can admit anyone else that comes a little bit late. So thank you so much for joining us today for our very first This Space Classroom. So today is going to be led by my lovely colleague Bree, who some of you probably know. I can see a few familiar faces on here, and she's going to be leading the topic of how to write a strong brief. So the purpose of these classrooms, obviously we've all lacked a little bit of human connection over the past little while. So we just wanted to find a way to really connect with people again, meet some new people and reconnect with a lot of your familiar faces. So each week we're going to be running a different topic from different people within the company in different departments. So there's going to be topics on styling, events, idea generation and creative concept thinking and all different types. So you would have seen the link of all the different classrooms that we've got coming up. So have a look, and if you've got any other ideas or anything you'd love us to talk about, please let us know. We'd love to hear from you. 1 second. Team for today. So myself, I work in business development here at this space, and Bree, she's our senior event manager. So just a little bit of housekeeping. I'm guessing everyone's probably pretty used to Zoom now, but just feel free to keep your cameras off, your microphone off as you wish, completely up to you. And at the end of our talk, we'll go back to you guys first to ask any questions that you may have. So feel free to put it on then, keep it on throughout, or have it off. It's completely up to you. So I just wanted to let you guys know a little bit about who we are at this space. So some of you are probably familiar with us, some of you may not be. So we are a team of 10 made up of events, styling, business development and operations. We've been in operation for 16 years. We've produced events from 5 persons right up to 80,000 people. Our styling inventory has more than 1,500 product lines, and we create bespoke products in our warehouse. Our styling department works with event agencies as well as corporates and weddings. We have an in-house digital team to design renders, event collateral, as well as content for your event. We are very friendly and we are always open to ways we can collaborate together, and we would love to invite you over to our Stanmore showroom to talk more. So as you can see, I'm not actually there today, but with restrictions easing, we'll be back in the office a little bit more here and there in no time. Bree's actually over there today. So yeah, that's this space as a whole. So we've got separate sides of the company. So obviously the event management side, which is what we're talking to you today from, but we also do styling. So some clients will come to us purely on the styling side. Some will come to us for events. Some will come to us for the whole thing. So we're a bit of a different agency in that regard, that we've got multiple services to offer and we can offer whichever works for you. So, Bree, I'll hand over to you now to introduce yourself and talk a little bit more about yourself.
Yeah, so I thought I would start my presentation today with a little bit about me. So I am Bree from this space, and I'm the senior event manager here. I've been very lucky within my events industry time to work on events across the globe and also interstate. These are some of the images of events that I have either run or I have been eligible to attend. So going into Hong Kong, going down to Hobart, across to the Trans-Tasmans, New Zealand, to a number of destinations there, into Mexico, the beautiful Wolgan Valley, Tokyo, and the bustling streets of New Orleans, and the rooftops of Ho Chi Minh City, which was fantastic. So a couple of stats about myself. So my background began in hotel venues, so very operational driven and focused. From there, I built my career into agency, where I have spent 4 years at American Express Meetings and Events, working on a range of events across the globe. And then moved across to the gorgeous creative events agency that you know, this space. just coming on 1.5 years. So it's very exciting. And during this quiet time, the team have been really creative, creating new services and products, which we're really excited to launch to the market in the coming months. So the question here today is, what is a brief? So an event brief is a complete overview of your event that you're planning to run. The brief is placed together prior to any practical plans that are made, and it includes any details relevant to the event and how you expect the event to run. So key dates and limitations, just to name a few points there. It is this document that you will continually refer to throughout the planning to ensure that you're keeping on track with the progress and everything is staying focused. Essentially, the brief is creating your event's personality. Each event is different with its different outcomes, and therefore it has its individual personality at the end of the day. So it's not one fits all scenario. So in the whole process of developing your event brief, where do we begin? Which is a great question. I tend to identify a basic framework in developing my event brief, which is 7 key points that I like to have answered to then derive any documentation from. So who are your attendees? Are they high-end corporates or professionals? Are they scientists? Are they farmers? Are they international guests? And then what is your purpose of the event? Are you educating them? Are you entertaining? Or are you building a corporate relationship with the attendees? Also, the location. Whereabouts do you want to hold it? Is it within a particular CBD, or is it across a state, or is it just within a particular country that you want to explore? Do you have a theme in mind? Is there a theme or a brand that you want to run throughout the entire event to give you the objective and purpose? What are the guest numbers? This will then really hone down on the type of venues that you want to look at. And finally, budget. Yes, it tends to not be thought of at the start, but I highly recommend that a clear identity of a budget is outlined, so you then can choose the venues and the format of the event, which is ideal to fit within your budget. There's no point having a small budget and then wanting to do a high-end corporate incentive program if you can't afford it. So working within that budget means is really important, and that will give you those parameters. Where do we go from here? So there's 2 places we then go when outlining these 7 points. That is your internal briefing document. So that is your company's event briefing document that you will also share if you're working with an event agency such as us. You'll share that document with your event agency. And then the other style of documentation is your external briefing documents. So these are your requests for proposals to all your suppliers that are going to assist you to make this event happen. So with the internal briefing document, this is my structure that I like to work with, and that is at the start providing a clear overview of your event. This may include any of the event structure, the purpose of the event, a clear description of what you want to happen during the course of the event. The aim of the project should be included in here, including any targets or any ethos that you wish to include. The date of the event, you must have a date. It's really hard to work with venues or suppliers on just saying within a particular month. It's really key to really drive down onto one date or a couple of dates that you want to focus in on. And this will assist you with creating any interviews needed, meetings, or any other times in which certain people must attend. So you're able to really create a critical path from that particular date. Working backwards, I tend to like to do. The event venue or location, depending on where if you don't know where you're going to hold it, just a location is fine. Your target audience, if there are any partners outside of the groups that you are working with within your event group that you want to include in on the brief, stating from what they do and how to involve them in the event. State a clear budget, as I mentioned. This is really important to really give you the parameters of what you can work with here. And income and expenditure targets should be included here. For example, stating ticket prices, any expected profit for your event. So it's all within this one document. Of course, in addition to this, all management roles in the event must be really drilled down with brief descriptions of each of those. And lastly, what I also recommend is any particular contact details that you wish to have included which are relevant for the development of the event. So anyone within your team that is working on the event, including your internal briefing document. I also recommend utilising headings and breaking the components down into areas. This will assist with flow of the document and also reading, because by the end of your event, this is a briefing document that will always be updated, changed, expanded on. So a lot of information will be in this document by the end. And what I love to do is also include imagery. So floor plans, any examples of spaces that will be used, mood boards, mock-ups of brand placement, and any styling products that you want to have. So when your internal team are looking at this, they really have a clear idea about what you're wanting to achieve from the event. And then moving on to our external briefing documents. So as mentioned, these are documents that you're reaching out to your supplier network and asking for proposals to help you formulate your budgets, also create run sheets. Everything comes from getting this information from your suppliers. So from the supplier end of things, it's really important that you include your company profile. I've put a bit of a blurb here, so when we send this out, you can read it in a bit more detail, but these are the 4 areas that really should be touched on within your request for a proposal. So moving on from your company profile is detailed event information that particular supplier will need. So reaching out to a venue versus reaching out to an AV company, or reaching out to a styling company, or reaching out to emergency services that you need to have on site, your event information that they all need to help generate those proposals is very much going to be tailored to that particular area. So just keep that in mind. And within this area, you really need to step into your supplier's point of view and remove any pre-known knowledge of the event or of your company and come in as though you don't know anything. See if you can pick up any gaps or holes that you're not touching on that they may expect information on. Again, I highly recommend with the budget is to be really clear, talk about your budget and be upfront with your expectations surrounding it. Without a budget, you know, that particular vendor or supplier will then find it difficult to find a unique solution that's going to get the most out of the money that you're spending. And finally, the timeline. So with my RFPs, I always finish with the timeline. So when I'm expecting the proposal to come back to me when I need it, and therefore when I'm going to be presenting it to my clients, any key dates that they should be aware of that will help you get the information you need should be laid out within this as well. So as mentioned, I let them know when I need the proposal, when I'm going to be presenting, and indications of decision dates or shortlists, things like that. So I'm upfront with them from the very start. So then they, in turn, in their internal meetings can say, well, this client is at this point with their proposal, we'll hear more information from them on X date, and they don't need to follow you up continuously and just add more emails to your inbox, which I could already imagine is extensively large as an event manager. I understand creating all these different types of briefing documents for all your suppliers can be really, really frustrating. I too, when I started putting all of my briefing documents for all the relevant suppliers together, I was really frustrated by it. But I must say, once you have those documents done, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's reuse, recycle, create templates from these briefing documents and keep them all in one. What I tend to do is keep them all in one Word doc and just have them underneath each other. And then I keep that open throughout the day, copy and paste the style of document that I want, make the key tweaks I need, because as mentioned, each event is different and therefore different requirements or different layout. So if you've got the templates, it's more quicker for you to modify than have to continually start from scratch. And now Shanae and I will join in here with some Q&A. So with the registration for today, we received quite a number of questions around whether templates can be used. I highly recommend templates to be used, not only as an event company or as a client or even as a supplier working with a client. Templates are fantastic and they really help you, hit all those areas. So when you're a supplier, understand sometimes us event managers or coordinators may not provide you at the initial point all the information that you need, but the information that you do have, draw into your own template. Once you've got that in, find where all your gaps are that you have, and then follow that quickly up with a phone call with that client, just outlining, got your inquiry, would love to give you a proposal and just need X, Y, and Z information to do this. And then you're able to generate the proposal. Yeah, and then I think Shanae also had a question, so I'll let her jump in here as well.
Yeah, and I'll just elaborate, Bree, on what you just said then as well. With all the information in these slides that Bree's put together that we'll be able to send through to you, you'll be able to create your own template that works for you and the kind of events that you do, like highlighting all the different areas that Bree has actually put together for you. But the other question that I had that I wanted to share was a question around whether or not it's necessary to disclose budget when you're briefing in your suppliers. And I can't stress enough how important it is to disclose budget. I do understand people's concerns around that because you feel as if you're giving the budget, they're going to take every part of it. But you'll actually find if you treat your supplier like a partner, they'll want to do the best job for you possible with the amount of money that you have. And if you don't give that up front, you might find that you're getting a top end solution that they've actually put a lot of work into getting back to you, only to find that that's not within your budget. You'll have a lot more back and forth and you'll probably create some frustrations in the end with your supplier relationship. But being really upfront at the beginning, the supplier will want to do everything they can to meet that budget and give you the best outcome possible. And we always find, we're the same with clients as well, and the suppliers that we work with are the same. Generally speaking, you're more concerned about an overall relationship and the longevity of the kind of events you can work on rather than making margin on that one particular event. So if they can, they'll do whatever they can for you on that one event to build that relationship with you and get the opportunity to work on more stuff. So I think it's very important to give all the information that you have, and particularly around budget. Have we got any more questions that anyone would like to ask now?
If during the original, like the main briefing section, if the client doesn't really have like an idea of their budget just yet, like if they're waiting for some things to come in, what do you guys do when that happens, when you're not really sure on the budget in that main briefing stage? Or does it always just come with it?
Bree, is that
Yeah, so I'll jump in here. So understand a clear breakdown of a budget sometimes can't be provided at the very start. But when companies are generating their overall company budgets, they'll always, at the start of the financial year, allocate certain money to certain projects. So a client may have not necessarily the exact value of the budget that they can spend, but they by this point can really give you just a high level budget, an overall spend, which will help you work out the style of venues and locations that you should be picking out that are relevant for that client. Because if the client doesn't have a 5-star budget for Intercon or a Four Seasons, and they've got a 4-star budget, you know straight away you need to be tapping into those 4-star hotel options such as your Park Royals, your Novotels, your McEwers. So having some overall idea about spend will really assist you with picking the right suitable venues. And that's most important at the very start.
Thank you.
We got any more questions? Aaron.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good.
Good.
Just a quick one. How common is it for briefs to be kind of like a work in progress? Is that something you guys are used to getting often, or is it usually you get your brief and most people don't make too many changes or alterations?
So I'll jump in here as well. So a briefing, with the briefing document, like all events, things can change or things need to be adapted. So any changes or adaptations really derive from the original brief. So just keeping that document up to date so you can always refer back to that throughout the process is really important. So even though there is a change, it's come from the initial brief in some way, like in terms of the concept, the overall concept may change direction, but it's still, you know, derived from that original idea.
Cool.
Any more questions? All right. Well, if we've got no more, please feel free to email us through if you do think of any. We will be passing on a little post survey for you to fill out, which is around being on board with our marketing communications. So we'd love to have you all on board so we can keep you up to date with what's happening at this space. So you'll receive that shortly. So next week, we've got how to develop creative ideas and find inspiration for a concept. And that's going to be led by our managing director, Julia Barnard. So she's worked on some amazing events, both internally and overseas, and was obviously the brainchild behind this space. So there'll be some really interesting points come out of that. So definitely recommend tuning in for that. And we'll do another EDM that shows all the different ones that we've got coming up so you can see what ones interest you. And as I mentioned before, if you've got any other ideas, anything that you'd love to learn from us, definitely let us know, because we can absolutely look at doing a webinar on that exact topic.
Thank you for today.
Thank you.